world where there are many restaurant brands that have gone across this $1 million mark, they're considered the signature, the enterprise type businesses that are only reserved for those that have a strong portfolio financially and probably from a background standpoint. The most comparable brand and probably the only one that could even compete with you currently in your growth and in the strength of product and consumer opinion would be that of the big box competitor, which and the leader in unit count in the space in Buffalo Wild Wings. How do you position as being different and better, especially from a business standpoint, and then secondly into the consumer side?
There's no question in anybody's mind that the Buffalo Wild Wings is the leader in terms of the size of the enterprise and where they position themselves. So, but the problem that may exist with a larger enterprise is that it's large. So you will have a hard time navigating through the system. Also being publicly traded, I believe some of their focus is going to be on their stock and the price of their stock and their stockholders, as it should with any publicly traded company. Now, what that may or may not do is shift their focus away from their franchisees and the end consumer and in return for a shareholder valuations. And I believe that's some of the issues that may arise with a large enterprise such as that we don't have with us, being a privately held company, a smaller enterprise, where you can still actually have an impact with the executive team because you have a direct line to the CEO, to the founders, to the owners, to the executive team, and your opinion will matter and will be heard a lot faster and a lot easier than with such an enterprise.
Yeah, I think brands that go public have the big risk. I mean, there's plenty of reward that goes alongside a brand going public, but the risk is that now you've added politics into the mix, and now it's not always what's necessarily best for the customer or best for the franchisee. There's some political aspects that go alongside a brand, and that could be some of the challenges that they're facing.
Absolutely, they have to look for the shareholders, and they have to also look for a continuous stock price improvement immediately. So sometimes that might delineate the long-term vision of the company. But for us, we're looking for the long-term success. We're not looking for short-term success. And those two may not always align. And that's where the risk comes in with a publicly traded company, is they have to show continuous improvement on a quarterly basis, because every quarter they have to go up and also talk about their profits and talk about their results. And we don't have that problem. If one quarter we need to spend more on something, we don't have those pressures of Wall Street to worry about. And we can do the right thing for the long term and have a long-term vision than more of a shorter-term quarterly vision.
You have some great franchisees in your system who really not started from nothing, but started from a position where they were rookie in franchising. This was going to be their first franchise brand, and they've scaled it to 2 units, 5 units, 9 units. Sometimes the perception of a rookie franchisee is that they can get into a Buffalo Wild Wings model, which means the natural comparison, if I'm looking at 2 brands, I'm going to think that I can compare you to that. But the reality is they're sold out, and it's going to be very hard to break into their unit unless you're buying a location that's turning over for the second or third time. How often does their name come up in the sales process, and is that primarily due to the level of experience that the would-be franchisee would have coming into the system?
You are very accurate in saying that, yes, it will be very hard for a franchisee without experience, without having extremely deep pockets to get into that system. And even once you're in the system, it's also going to be very difficult to find areas that you are able to invest in just because of their size and what areas are even available for franchising. But for us, we still have lots of availability, and we are still looking for people that believe in what we believe in and the same similar values. So it's not so much about the restaurant experience as much as it is having similar values and similar culture. And we can always work on the other skills, the hardcore skills of the restaurant industry. So that is one area where we could probably be a little bit better than them. You also mentioned the consumer. Big difference between us and them. They focus on a completely different demographics than we do. Completely different experience than we do. Our brand promise talks about the club level experience, which is, if we compare to them, we're at the stadium, we're watching the same game, but we're sitting in 2 different zones. They might be in the front zone, the front lines, the front rows, watching the game, being into the game 100%, with beers in their hands, nachos, and a hot dog, and just watching the game, being young and obnoxious. For us, you're sitting in a suite in a club level, maybe with your family, maybe with your daughter, maybe with your son, having a much elevated experience and much elevated food. And the experience is different because I'm connecting with my family, with my friends over sports. So it's not 100% about the sports, it's about the experience of connecting with each other over sports.
That's great. Great comparisons. Thanks for that information, and hopefully that's helpful to you that's out there trying to evaluate what opportunity makes most sense for you.